Hey, guess what we're going to be talking about today? The craziest, most weirdest, most bizarre sex story in the entire Bible. So let's roll the intro and we'll go ahead and get started. Well, what can I say? We all like a good old-fashioned sex story, and, well, the Bible's full of them. This is just one of the many, and I decided that I'm going to roll out like an entire series of sex stories. This is just one of the many. There's probably about 30 or 40 really good sex stories in the Bible, so this is going to be the first one in a whole series of sex stories, because why not? I mean... But this sex story is like really bizarre. It's really weird. It's probably like the weirdest, strangest thing you've ever heard in your life. It's like, I don't know what it's like, but it's like really weird, because like, here's the thing. If you think about Hollywood, lots of times there's crazy, weird sex stories that come out of like Hollywood and like movies and stuff, and like, when you read the Bible, you're like, dude, like there's worse stuff in the Bible. So why do people get upset about the sex movies that come out of Hollywood? I don't know. But if you read the Bible like we're going to do today, you're going to find some really, really, really weird stuff. But before we get too far into this channel, I just want to take about 20 seconds to tell you about my YouTube channel and why I think you should subscribe. First of all, this is a Bible study channel. What we do here is study the Bible because we take the Bible seriously and we seriously study the Bible. So if you are looking for a Bible study that's online, it's absolutely free. You just found it, and you can go ahead and click subscribe and the bell notification. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, my name is Adam Jordan Clark, and I publish a brand new video every single day. And today, we're going to be talking about Judah and Tamar. And for those of you who don't know who it is, it's basically a father who sleeps with his daughter. Eventually. So let's go ahead and take a look at the text. When we come to Bible Gateway, we will find the story of Judah and Tamar in Genesis chapter 38. Now, we're going to be reading in the NIV today because, well, that's the translation that most people use these days. And this is the 2011 edition. So, as we can see, this chapter is quite long, which means we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, in the first part here, it gives us the backdrop of what's actually happening. It tells us that Judah met some woman, and he married her, and he popped out a kid. And in verse 3 it says, she became pregnant and gave birth to a child and named the kid Er, which means But saying Er makes it sound cooler because it kind of sounds like E.T. If you get the reference, let me know in the comments below. So they pop out a kid, and a couple years later, Er, or E.T. if you will, decided that he's going to get a wife. His father, Judah, decided that he was going to get him a wife because back in those days, that's what you did. And her name was Tamar. So just so we're clear on what's happening here, there's a guy named Judah. He has a son named Er, or if you will, and then he finds some chick named Tamar, and he says, yo, Tamar, I want you to marry my son Er. That's what happens. But it gets a little bit more weird as time goes on. Because remember I told you, it's Judah who ends up sleeping with Tamar. So what does this Er have to do with anything? Well, we're about to find out. But apparently Er was a bad person. He was wicked in the sight of the Lord. Basically, God pulled out a machine gun and went and killed him. That's pretty much what happened. At least that's my version of it. I don't know. It doesn't tell us how he died. It just says God didn't like him and killed him. Stabbed him in the face or something, sent him to the ER. I don't know. He killed him. He's dead now. So now Tamar doesn't have any kids because ER's dead. So now what? Well, Judah gets the bright idea that he's going to get his other son to sleep with his brother's wife. And it says, sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty as the brother-in-law to raise up offspring for your brother. Basically what that means is Judah went to his other son and said, son number 2, I want you to go have sex with Tamar because Er is now dead and there won't be any children. So you need to give her children so Er can have children, even though Er is dead. But apparently this second son was not a very good son, and so it says he spilled his semen on the ground. And you know what God did? He pulled out his machete and chopped him down to the ground. It's like, I don't know if he did that or not, but he killed him. That's what it says. He killed him. See, it says, so the Lord put him to death also. So that's 2 dead, killed by God. He's on a killing spree. So Judah decides for round number 2 to get himself some grandkids, and then he goes to the daughter, which is Tamar. It's his daughter-in-law, and he says, live as a widow in your father's house until my other son is able to, marry you like the other ones. But apparently some time passed, and Judah's wife actually died, and so... well, he's left stranded too. And so he decides to go on a little vacation, and as he goes on a little vacation, he ends up running into Tamar, which is the daughter who went to go live with her father again. But Tamar was a little bit crafty, and she decided to, pull the wool over the eyes, or the old saying goes, or something like that, and she tricked the old man. And it says that when Tamar was told that your father, Judah, is on his way, she said, I'm going to dress up like a hooker and stand at the entrance and hope to God that he sleeps with me. That's the paraphrased version. When Judah saw her, he thought that she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. Not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her by the roadside and said, come now and let me sleep with you. And so fast forwarding all the good business, basically Judah sleeps with Tamar because Tamar is dressed up like a hooker, and yeah, that's what happened. But in order for this whole sleeping arrangement to take place, there's a little bit of an agreement that takes place. And basically, Tamar says, well, you got to pay for the sex because she is acting like a prostitute. And so he says, well, I'll give you a goat. And he gives her a goat, and she says, well, I need some more. And so she ends up getting the seal and the cord and the staff, and that's sort of used as collateral to prove that, he's going to pay with the goat later on down the road, because he didn't have the goat with him. I mean, obviously. So anyways, they decided that they were going to have sex, and then they had sex. And it goes on to tell us that Judah went back home, and then some time went by, and here's basically what happened. Somebody from Judah's tribe found out that Tamar was a prostitute, and then came back and said, dude, your daughter-in-law is a prostitute. Judah goes, let me think about this for a second. Burn her! So he decides they're going to burn her. Light a fire and throw her in and burn her because she's a prostitute. That's what they decided to do. So Judah sent the goat back to Tamar with one of his friends, and his friend was not able to find Tamar, to pay for the sex that happened. So his friend went back to Judah and basically said, hey, dude, I couldn't find her. And Judah said, well, looks like I got free sex. But then about 3 months passed by, and Judah is minding his own business when somebody came to him and says, your daughter-in-law, Tamar, she's guilty of prostitution, and now she is pregnant. And Judah responds, and he says, bring her out and let's burn her. Let's burn her to death. Light the fires. Then all of a sudden, Tamar comes into the story, and she says, dude, don't you guys know the guy that got me pregnant, that got me all knocked up, just so happens to be the owner of this seal and cord and staff. Basically, she tricked the old man, and now he's caught with his foot in his mouth. And as she was being brought out to be tossed into the fire, she just so happens to have the seal and the cord and the staff and says, hey, the guy who owns these is the dude who knocked me up. And so Judah recognized the staff and the cord and the seal, and he said, she is more righteous than I, since I didn't give her to my son. Long story short, she ends up having twins, and yada, 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 yada. By the way, this whole relationship between Judah and Tamar is pretty interesting. You know why? Because Tamar, believe it or not, Tamar is actually like the great, I don't know, there's probably a couple more great grandmothers of Jesus. That's right. Read the genealogy and you're going to find that chick's name. So, interesting story, isn't it? Judah sleeps with his daughter-in-law because his two sons didn't sleep with her, and God killed him with his machete or whatever, and that's the story. Wow. Imagine if that was a Hollywood movie and the Christians today were opposing it and saying, oh my God, what kind of story is this? Well, it's a story of Judah and Tamar. Jesus' great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandmother. I don't know if I have all the greats right, because there's like 30 generations there, but she was really old, and she happens to be a part of Jesus' family. Listen, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you like the humor, let me know in the comments below. And also, if this is the first time you ever heard the story of Judah and Tamar, let me know as well. Also, we're going to be doing a lot more stories on the whole sex thing in the Bible, because there's like 30 or 40 like really weird stories like this one. So we're going to do a whole series on sex in the Bible or something like that. I don't know what we're going to call it, but it'll be really cool. It'll turn into a playlist. By the way, I got some more playlists up here from other topics that you can go and watch. And don't forget to click the little A right here, the big red A, and subscribe to the channel, because I publish a brand new video every single day. My name is Adam Jordan Clark. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.